Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. Folks, it's a good day. It's a really good day because the Biden administration is building more border wall. Yes, you heard that correctly. We're getting more wall. It's about damn time. And we're going to see this all played out from yesterday's White House press briefing. Now, I'm excited not only because we're getting more border wall, not only are we having to see the Democrats and the Biden administration eat their own words and break their own promises to the American people, meaning the Democrat voter, but I was complaining earlier this week about reporters not pushing back on Karine Jean-Pierre regarding them breaking record after record with border encounters that is happening each and every month. Well, I'm going to give them their spotlight today because do they push back on her bigly regarding this border wall and the hypocrisy that is happening with this administration? Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave us a comment down below. How excited are you from 1 to 10, 10 being the most excited about more border wall being built? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, support us by hitting that join tab over there in the far corner. Become a true American patriot today. We would love your support. And also head over to baldbrad.com. Share this link with your friends and family all over social media. With that being said, here's reporter after reporter after reporter going after Karine Jean-Pierre regarding this border wall. Let's have some fun and roll it.
The president just told me that a border wall does not work. If that's the case, why does his own Department of Homeland Security secretary say in a public notice, quote, there is presently an acute and immediate need to construct physical barriers?
Here's what I can say. I can speak to what the president was very clear in saying, and also what you all have been reporting about this construction. So the facts are this is not new. These funds were appropriated in fiscal year 2019 under Republican leadership, and DHS is required by law to use the funds for appropriated purpose. That's what we're seeing. This was announced back in June by the DHS. And so, look, we believe that there are better effective ways of moving forward to secure our border and security, our border security, and we have continuously asked for Congress to act, to provide our CBP, the law enforcement at the border, to give them the resources they need to do their jobs. And so we're going to continue to call on Congress. We believe, and the president has been very clear, even when you asked him, does a border wall work? He said no. And he's been very consistent about that. We believe that we need border technology that is modernized and land ports of entry, and that's what we want to see. And that's what I can speak to. And this is something that we were required by law, and we are complying. This is an administration that does believe in the rule of law.
God. Oh, that last one. This is an administration that believes in the rule of law. Okay, sure you do. You see how they're going to play this out? Well, we're just following the law like that stopped you before. Like the law mattered before, Karine, really? Come on. Over 6 million people breaking the law to pour into this country, and then you breaking the law as the executive branch by not executing the laws that are on the books, by flying immigrants, illegal aliens into the interior of the country. I mean, you can start at COVID. I mean, you broke the law during COVID. They had 50% capacity to hold illegal immigrants at the border. They were stuffing them in there in capacity of like 200%. They were breaking the law. So because they were breaking the law and doing so for quite some time, they had to go and ask the CDC to double the capacity that they were allowed to have in these pods at the border so they could stuff more immigrants inside those pods. So this has been going on quite some time. Don't be fooled by this shenanigans that she's playing here. I know you're not, but some of you might be going, oh, well, they're just following the law. Good, they're supposed to. They didn't care before. The reason why they're doing this is it gives them an out. It gives them an excuse of like, look, hey, whoa, we're just doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're just doing what we're told. We were told to build this border wall. The funds were appropriated. We told them that we didn't want that border wall. We wanted it reappropriated. They wouldn't do it, so now we got to build it. It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out. The press does a phenomenal job here. Oh, they're going deep on this one. They're going hard in the paint on Karine.
Why now? For instance, these funds have been available since Biden took office. Why at this time?
And the president actually spoke to this, and this is one of the things that he was saying, that he's been asking Congress to reappropriate the funds. He has been for the past couple of years, and Congress refused. And we have to comply by law to get this done, and that's what you're seeing happening right now.
So he's been doing this for years. You guys catching this? Because this is the crap she pulls here. Who had Congress, who had the entire government under their control, all three branches of government, to stop all this from happening, to do this willy-nilly, foozy-woozy stuff at the border? Oh, it was Democrats. That's right. So she's going, well, it's Congress. He's been talking about this for years. He really cares. Oh, boo-hoo. They could have got this done, you guys. Like I said, it's all BS. It's all smoke and mirrors. They need that border wall. They want that border wall. They can't handle the truth. I'm excited. We're finally getting some of it built. Some of it.
Way to continue to slow walk this and to delay it.
We have to comply by law, and that's what we're doing at this time. We ask Congress to reappropriate the funds. That's what we would prefer to see, not waste the funding in the way that they're doing it right now, that we are required to do. But they refused, and so now we're moving forward.
Waste the funding? You guys, they've been throwing billions of dollars at a problem under this administration that's only been exacerbated. Like I said, there's never been a sitting president in U.S. history that's seen these type of numbers. So it's amazing messaging, but it continues.
Karine, what specific law will the administration be breaking if funds appropriated for the border wall are not used, especially because the funds go unused all the time? I mean, why not let it go unused this time?
Well, look, I'm not going to speak to the law. I would have to refer you to Department of Justice. I'm not a lawyer, but what I can tell you is that we are...
You guys, the press is doing it today. Give them a pat on the back, hit that like and subscribe button, and let them know. Let them know how much you're loving the work that they're doing, because we were complaining about this bigly. If you recall just the other day, maybe I should roll the tape of me complaining about you guys need to go after this woman and not let her get away with this crap, and they're not.
This is a law that we are complying with. We have asked Congress multiple times to reappropriate this. This is not the way that we believe is going to be effective here. We believe in modernizing the system, not actually building a wall. The president said himself he does not think this is effective, and so we're complying by law. And we believe that in the rule of law here, and we're moving forward and getting that, in following the law.
Is this the administration in some ways recognizing that using these funds at this moment will be useful in Texas?
We are complying by the law that says that we need to do this, and that's what DHS is asking for.
How is this consistent with what President Biden pledged to do when he was elected, which is that he will not use any funds to use the border law? What will you tell?
Let's make this really clear. The facts are that this is not new, right? This is something that came from the last administration under the Republican leadership in fiscal year 2019, and we are required to do this. We are required, DHS is required to comply by the law. That's what we're doing here. And look, the president, he said this himself. He basically asked Congress to reappropriate the funds. They wouldn't do it. And so now we have to comply by the law. Now, this was something that was announced 6 months ago. DHS actually announced this 6 months ago. And so this is not new. This is actually not new.
Does this help with the situation in Texas?
We believe that a border wall is not effective. You heard that from the president when your colleague Selena asked him directly. He said, we don't believe it's effective. We have asked Congress to actually help.
You know what? Let's test and see how effective border walls are. Let's just get rid of the fence around the White House. Why have a fence? They don't work. They're not effective. Get rid of them then. Why was there a fence around the Capitol? Oh, they're not effective. Let's get rid of it. They don't work. It's a waste of money then. The upkeep, the security around it. Why have that? Why have the barricades out front of the White House there? So it's a bunch of foozery. It's a bunch of nonsense. And I love the fact this report is bringing up the fact that Joe Biden on the campaign trail said, not one piece of border wall will be built under my administration. Well, that worked out well so far, because not only did you start building and filling in the gaps about a year and a half ago, but now this is coming to fruition because bleep has hit the fan. Records are breaking. Democrat-ran cities, the infrastructure's falling apart, meaning now your own party's complaining about your handling of the border. Then yesterday you have DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas that's had his bleep up as you know what for so long that he hasn't seen daylight, is finally flailing his arms. God, oh my God, there's so many aliens. There's millions. I can't do it. I can't do it. A border wall, please. Like, this is where we're at now. This is where we're at. It's so good. This is a victory. This is a W. Big middle finger to the Democrats on this one. Woo!
Help us, use these funds in smarter, more effective ways. That's what we've asked for. They refuse, but we're going to continue to ask for Congress, especially Republicans who are holding this back, to act.
If the border wall is ineffective, why is the Homeland Security Secretary saying that it's necessary to prevent unlawful entries into the United States?
I have not seen that full statement. I know.
In the notice that went out this
I hear
morning.
you. I'm just saying I've not seen that his full statement on that. What I can speak to.
Convenient. We got to follow the law. What's the law, Karine? I don't know. I'd have to look at it. I'm going to give you the statement from the dude. Well, I don't know. I'd have to look at it.
Is for the president.
Convenient.
The president's been very clear that he doesn't believe it's effective. He answered that question of your colleague. That's what I can speak to. That's what we're going to talk about. And we've actually said there are smarter ways and more effective ways in dealing with this. And there are. And so the president said himself, he asked Congress to reappropriate this funds for something that is more effective, for ways to do this in a smarter way as it relates to border security measures. They refused. This was announced back in June, and now we're moving forward.
And he said in 2020 as a candidate, so after this law was passed in 2019, that there will not be another foot of wall constructed in my administration. How can you say that he's not breaking that promise?
Well, what I can say is that there's a law that the DHS is complying with. We believe in the rule of law, and that's what we're moving forward with. This was decided, as you just said, in 2019. I believe there was a different president in 2019, right? That was a Republican president who actually pushed this forward. The Republican leadership pushed this forward. And so now we're complying by the law. Let's not forget, this was 6 months ago. This was out there 6 months ago. I know you guys are asking me about this now, but this was actually not new, and this was done 6 months ago. Okay.
Yeah, but to piggyback on that, Karine, I mean, there were a series of waivers put forth last night that expedite this process. And can you help us understand, essentially, is there a deadline in the law, or why is it that this has to be used up right now? Because you all have been not thus far using these funds. So to piggyback on Nandita's question, why not continue to slow walk this if philosophically you
Because
do
we've
not
asked,
believe it?
because the answer there is we've asked Congress over and over again. The president said this, to reappropriate the funds. They said no. We have to comply by the law. That's what DHS is doing. As you asked me about the environmental laws that we had to deal with, we have to comply by the law, and which requires, because we have to comply by the law, which requires the agencies to use these funds.
Required by the law to stop other laws so that you could follow the law. Let that logic sink in, you guys. They had to remove like 26 laws to implement this spending of the border wall. Don't believe anything she's saying here. Like I said, they know they need that wall. They know walls work. This is just a whole scam here to try to dodge the fact that Joe Biden lied to his voters. Joe Biden broke a big old promise. And now, after spending years of calling Trump a racist and all those names, now it's back on them. So now they're the racists. Now they're the ones that are treating immigrants poorly. Now they're the ones that are doing all these things. So now we can name call them all we want because they're doing the exact same thing, folks.
Their appropriated purpose. Now, CBP will conduct environmental and cultural resource surveys of this project, and so certainly I would refer you to DHS and CBP on the specifics of that, and also the law itself. What I can tell you is that we have to comply by the law, and that's what we're doing, and that's what DHS is doing. Again, this was announced back in June, and this is how we're moving forward. And you heard directly from the president. His stance on the border wall has not changed. He does not.
All right, so she's just going to keep repeating herself. The reporters keep going, you guys. For the entire 44 minutes of this press briefing, they just completely lay into her regarding this whole thing. And I want to find Peter Alexander of CBS or NBC News, I can't remember which one he's with here, calls her out on this whole thing. Let's hear him do the Lord's work.
When we have those information, we'll certainly share that. Okay, Peter.
Karine, I just want to follow up very quickly. You said that it's not new, but to be clear that this was posted on the Federal Register overnight on October 4th. So just to be clear about this, the president earlier today said that he was asked, does the border wall work? He said no. But in this statement that was posted within the last 24 hours, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary says there is presently an acute and immediate need to construct physical barriers and roads in the vicinity of the border of the United States in order to prevent unlawful entries into the United States. So who's right? The statement from the DHS secretary overnight or the president's comments today saying they don't work?
So a couple of things. Yes, it showed up on the register today, but the announcement, this is not new. This is from 6 months
Well,
ago.
it is new because the waiving of the laws actually didn't happen.
But this is something that was out back, that the DHS was put out back in 6 months ago. So and now they announced,
Did they
no.
waive the laws 6 months ago?
Well, what I'm saying is DHS announced this back in June, that the agency would do so. They actually said that they would do that back in
They moved forward
DHS.
with it today, but the initial announcement was 6 months ago by waiving the laws. So that's what's new today. Understood. So
Yes.
the statement when he
Just wanna
says
make sure we're
presently
clear on
was
that.
filed. So when he said there is presently, are you saying when he says there is presently, he was referring to 6 months ago or referring to the date of which it was filed?
What I can
10/4?
tell you is DHS announced this back in June, that they were going to move forward
She's dodging the question, you guys. There's a bunch of foolery going on here.
with this. That's
They got caught with their pants down.
what I can share with you. That's what I know is to be true and is to be fact. Look, I can speak for the president. The president said, he was asked directly, he doesn't believe a border wall is effective.
Does he have a disagreement with his Department of Homeland Security secretary?
What I can tell you, what the president, I want to tell you what the president said and what your colleague asked him. He said, no, he doesn't believe that the
I
border
asked
wall is
because he's
effective.
speaking in direct contradiction to what his own
I know, I
Homeland
hear
Security
you,
secretary
I hear you.
says.
I'm speaking for the president. I'm saying that he has said that he does not believe a border wall is effective. That's what he was asked. He has said that for some time now, and it still remains to be the case. He asked, right? He asked Congress multiple times. His team has asked Congress to reappropriate the funds. They refused to do that. We're going to comply by
Will you
law.
ask the president on our behalf then, in the absence of our ability to do that, whether he disagrees with the statement that there is presently an acute and immediate need to construct
I'm
physical
happy to take
barriers?
that back. I'm happy to take that back. Go ahead.
So let me find it. Again, we're just shooting from the hip here. But Peter Doocy does get some questions in regarding this border wall. The Gladiator from Fox News. Let's roll it.
Thank you,
Go ahead.
Thank you, Karine. As a candidate, President Biden didn't say there will not be another foot of wall constructed that except what was appropriated in 2019. He said there will not be another foot of wall constructed in my administration. So something changed. What?
You want us to break the law?
6 million people, Peter. Over 6 million people. That's what changed, Peter. That's what changed. Title 42 being expelled. That's what's changed. An old dullard in the White House that can't wipe his own ass. That's what's changed, Peter. So, a lot has changed here. I mean, we were doing pretty good under Trump. Then you got Joe Biden, the Democrats in, and just things hit the, just exploded. Things sucked. That's what changed, Peter. Over 6 million people pouring across the border. 10,000 people being encountered per day at the southern border. Things are bad. Things are bad.
Is that what you want? You want us to not comply with the law?
I'm not.
But
asking
you want,
about
but you
it-
want
he
us
was
to not comply
declarative.
with the law. You want us to not be in administrations that follow the
You
rule
guys
of law.
do this all the time. The student loans, the student loan forgiveness program. You went to court to fight for that. If this is such a problem, building 20 miles of wall, why not just go to court?
We went to Congress. The Congress appropriates the funding.
Why not
Congress,
fight them more?
Congress appropriates the funding. We asked them to not use that funding for that particular purpose. They denied it, and now we're complying with the law.
If you have to build a border wall, but you don't think that it's going to work, then once it's done, are you just going to tear it down?
I'm not getting into hypotheticals from here. I'm just telling you what I can tell you from here. The facts are that DHS is complying with the law. This is from this was under fiscal year 2019, under Republican leadership, and DHS is required to do this. The
Oh, here she
president
goes.
asked multiple
Oh,
times
here she goes.
of Congress to
getting out of there.
reappropriate. They did not, and we're not complying by the law. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Gotta get out of there because Peter Doocy. She always saves Peter Doocy for the last because she knows it's an scapegoat. Oh, sorry, we ran out of time. Gotta get out of here. Sorry, Peter. It was a good question from Peter, and also to piggyback on a other reporter's question regarding this whole thing, because the connection was that a reporter earlier on that we watched said, well, why don't you just fight it? Why don't you just slow walk this whole thing rather than, I don't know, building it starting tomorrow? Like, you've been sitting on this for 6 months and just all of a sudden now you're going to start building it. 24 hours, the DHS Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, says we need a border wall. So all of a sudden you're just going to start building it. So that connection with Peter Doocy, talk about the student loan debt forgiveness plan, was huge because They wanted to give out money to pay off people's debts. They didn't get their way, and so they started fighting it in court. In the same way here, they are technically not getting their way because now they have to build a border wall, of which they don't want to do. So the question is, why don't you fight it in court? Why don't you take it up? Why don't you sit there and slow walk it? But they all know, the Democrats know they're getting shellacked in their cities, that their infrastructures can't handle this. You hear that from all of them. Because you got Greg Doocy, Ron DeSantis, Governor Greg Abbott, busing and flying migrants to these sanctuary cities, these right to shelter cities, which are Democrat ran, and now they're being crippled because of it. So we all see what's going on. I'm excited for it because we need that wall. But here, just to kind of go a little bit further on this whole thing, is the Biden administration announced that it will resume the building of U.S.-Mexico border wall as part of a plan initiated during the Trump administration. The federal government will need to purchase or seize private lands while ignoring environmental laws in order to follow through on its plan. Let that sink in. They have to break laws and ignore them to implement another law to follow the law. That's how insane this is. Just the day after, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas called for the construction of barriers and roads. Notice they can't call it a border wall because Democrats will lose their ish. You got to call it a barrier or road or a fence. You can't call it a wall. DHS plan to now do this new border wall in the Starr County, Texas area. The area is basically 20 miles. This was chosen back in 2019, and I guess Congress allotted basically $1.4 billion towards the construction, and the Biden administration will be forced to use the remaining $190 million from the original funding package. So the question is that if this is the original funding package from 2019, you've been sitting on almost $200 million of taxpayer money. You've just been sitting on it. We know also, by the way, that they've been paying off somebody to just keep the wall in the dirt for years. So all this whole thing of like, well, now we're forced to execute the law. God forbid, we're forced to protect our borders. It's so crazy, that messaging. They're twisting our arms. Congress is twisting our arms to protect our borders. That's how much Democrats don't want to put America first. Where literally your own government, another branch, is saying, you suckers got to build this because you have to protect Americans and our borders because that's the law. And because Democrats put in other laws to cripple those that want to protect our borders, now you got to ignore those laws that Democrats put forward to be able to protect Americans. It is so wild. They'll go to such extreme lengths not to put you first. You want to know who's going to put you first? Donald Trump's going to put you first. America first. Build that border wall as shiny and bright as you possibly can. I want to see it from space. All this talk about UFOs. Nancy Pelosi, God, she looks like a UFO. Crooked Hillary, Sleepy Joe, all you freaks over there. I'll tell you what, you're the aliens, and you're letting in illegal aliens, and I'm not going to have it. I'm going to build the biggest freaking border wall. Goes up to space. Space Force will use it as a landing pad, and we're going to protect this nation. Look, he's going to put America first, folks, and Democrats aren't going to do it. So, we're going to get it, and here's Donald Trump on Truth Social. Let's go ahead and project this for y'all. I want to make sure we get this. He says this: so interesting to watch crooked... We do the Trump voice, folks. So interesting to watch crooked Joe Biden break every environmental law in the book to prove that he was right. When I said, I built 560 beautiful, just gorgeous border wall miles there. They incorrectly stated 450. I said 560. They say 450. We're not going to meet in the middle. I'm not a negotiator with terrorists. Okay, I added a lot in there, okay? But they say 450. Trump says 560. A brand new, beautiful border wall. I love the way he talks. As I have stated often, over 1,000 years, thousands of years, there's only been two things that have consistently worked. Wheels and walls. I love it. Well, crooked Joe Biden apologized to me and America for taking so long to get moving, and now allowing our country to be flooded with 15 million illegal aliens. We got to continue here, folks. Illegal immigrants from places unknown I will await his apology. There's nothing more Trump than Trump writing that statement right there. You can tell when Trump writes his own content because it just sounds like Trump. There's only one person that can truly be Trump and sound like Trump, and that is Mr. 45 himself, the greatest president that's ever lived. Mr. 45 and soon to be 47. Well, that's the news today, folks. A nice way to end off going into the weekend here with this Friday news. Sorry for being a little bit quirky and weird, but I couldn't be more excited about this. Like I said, this is big news. Immigration and the debt are my two biggest issues, and there's nothing greater than to see Joe Biden have to eat his own damn words here and build a border wall of which he doesn't want to build. With that being said, become a true American patriot today by hitting that join tab right down here. Head over to baldbrad.com. Get yourself some merchandise. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have mugs, we have all of it. We have a book, Trojan Horse on the left is Destroying America. Everything is in the description below. And folks, I'll see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show.